Time now for the Friend Zone. After a pretty intense show, we like to bring on fun people, good people, our friends in the building here at Fox. Chief among them tonight, correspondent Leland Vittert. Leland, it is great to see you.
You know, nice to see you, Chuck. I was thinking about this invitation. Fox has sent me to war zones. They sent me to Libya, Egypt, Israel. They sent me to Baltimore, basically a war zone. Washington, a war zone by the other name. And this is the first time I'm nervous. Never been to a friend zone before.
Never been to a friend zone. Well, it's always friendly fire that gets in the end. So I've got some tough questions for you, Leland.
Okay.
No, actually, a lot of viewers may not know you spent many years abroad in Israel for us at Fox. And among the coolest things you did, I think, you interviewed a failed suicide bomber.
Which you would think would be a contradiction in terms.
You would.
But they do exist. This young woman had come back, and there she is. She had failed in her suicide bomb because the bomb didn't go off. And she then went back to Gaza in a prisoner exchange, and we got a hold of the video of her trying to blow herself up and thought, wouldn't this be interesting to find someone who had failed as a suicide bomber and perhaps she had changed her ways and saw the light even and decided that she was going to go try and keep people from being suicide bombers or something like that. We went to interview her, and she said just the opposite. She said, as I watched the video, it brings me back to when I was going to find paradise. I want to be a suicide bomber again. That probably is not going to happen for her because the Israelis now know who she is. They're not going to let her back into Israel. But then she started talking about her dreams, which is to inspire more suicide bombers, number one. Number two, she wanted to go and be a journalist inside Gaza. And there's a lot of journalists who inspire suicide bombers inside Gaza, so that might work. But at the end of the conversation, she said to my interpreter, you should tell him the next time he comes back to Gaza to let me know I'd like to get together.
What do you mean get together?
Well, have a Coca-Cola. You don't have drinks there. But at that moment when I saw that interaction, and if you watch her and you look at her, she looks like any other normal young woman. You take off her hijab, she looks like any other normal woman walking down the street. And you thought, here is somebody who wants to go kill as many people as you can. Yeah. Here is the essence of evil. And yet she's like any other normal young woman in so many ways. And it struck back to what you learned about the Holocaust, which was the banality of evil then, and realized, gee, if this is the enemy that we now face, it's going to be awfully difficult.
Do you think she was relieved that the bomb didn't go off?
I asked her that, and she said no. She said that she wished that it had gone off, and I showed her the video, I don't know if we have it, of where she pulls the trigger. Oh. And she was watching it, we were watching it, and I said, what were you thinking right then? And she goes, that is when I began to taste paradise.
It really is.
And they had brainwashed her to believe that.
But she still believed it even after she survived.
Absolutely.
It really is a death cult. Well, I've interviewed a lot of people. I've never interviewed a failed suicide bomber. That is fascinating.
Unique experience.
Leland Vittert, who's been around. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.